So we're here to talk a bit about PPI embedment in the Home Health Project. So we thought it might be useful if we give you a bit of an overview of what the Home Health Project is and where it came from. And it is a product of the Hive Lab in NUI Galway, University of Galway. And that's where we try and combine engineering and cutting edge technologies with the needs of the patient or the clinician. This is led by Professor Derek O'Keefe, who will be speaking to you after coffee, and the rest of us will be talking to you in more depth about it in a moment. So what the Home Health Project is trying to do is it's trying to use some of the technology that we've become aware of more because of COVID-19, such as video conferencing and other cutting-edge solutions to provide a digital solution for an entire remote community. So the needs of this community will be enhanced because of their isolation. The use cases will be more acute. So what we want to do is manage, hopefully, chronic conditions, demonstrate some of the benefits that there can be both for the patients and for the entire health ecosystem. So we're looking at cost savings. We're looking at patient-reported outcomes such as their stress that they undergo when they're engaged with some of the standard medical interventions. And we really want to showcase as well some of the future possibilities when using virtual reality, drones, and artificial intelligence for scheduling consultations. So these are things that are hopefully going to be rolled out. So the Home Health Project is going to be almost entirely located on Clare Island off County Mayo. So it's that big red dot there. Clare Island its nearest town is Westport. It's about 3 miles out to sea. There's 165 people. So what people say about islands is that they're a microcosm of the nation, and this is definitely true. There's a doctor who comes in 1 day per week, and there's 2 nurses. And the reason Jack and Jenny and I are here to talk to you is because that's my house there, and that's Jack's house there, and I'll show you Jenny's house again. Jenny's house is just here. So, we're the community and we're the patients. And we're embedded in this project. So I think we can bring a different perspective to you all. Some of the details of what we want to do, and I'll just be brief. Virtual consultations. This is what we do every day. It's WebEx for bringing a patient and a consultant together. Remote monitoring. We're taking Bluetooth-enabled monitors, putting them on patients, and linking this data, which is taken in a much finer grain, so daily or multiple times per day, and having that at the fingertip of the consultant when they want to meet with the patient. One of the most exciting is the health promotion work package. This is where we're taking a riff on what Jim was saying about shift left, stay left, and we're trying to come up with a series of activities and interventions that will help people be more healthy. So we have a personalized nutrition scheme and an exercise scheme that we hope to roll out in January. Drone delivery is going to take the ferry out of the equation, we hope, so that 3 miles of ocean crossing might become less important or less of a barrier if we can have drones that can collect samples, deliver medicines. Robot triage is going to be a very interesting work package where we look at bringing some of the acute care initial triage to a very remote location using some of the robots that are available now. Home telepresence, it's about combating loneliness, which is a real problem in isolated communities. VR education, we've heard a lot about the importance of education. For some reason, I've left out the last work package, which is about dynamic appointments, where we will be using artificial intelligence and an algorithm based on it to monitor the information from the patients, which we are taking in work package 2, and help trigger a warning when the trends are going in the wrong direction. So that we'd have an intervention when it's needed as opposed to when it may be too late. If you want more information about the actual project, there's a poster down at the end, and Jack will be there at the coffee break. Because we talked a bit about the triple helix or the quadruple helix as it is now, I think it's important to point out that this is a collaboration between Cisco Ireland and SFI, but also the HSE and Jim are already heavily involved. The Western Development Commission, who are here today, are also heavily involved. We have our local authorities, Clear Development Company, that's an important stakeholder here. That's the community organisation. There's 165 people, and there's 130 of those are members of Clear Development Companies. So the community is involved very much from the get-go. So I'll move over to the table, and I think Emer will start asking us some questions. Thanks very much.
To start off with, maybe you can all just tell us about yourselves, maybe your role on the project and your connection to the island.
So, hi, my name's Jenny. I'm the research physician on the project. I'm a wannabe islander, for use of a better term. I live on the mainland but lust after the island life. And I've been, going to Clare Island and for most of my life, and it kind of, when I saw the opportunity come up, I applied because I'm a doctor by training, but I really felt like essentially what PPI is about, that it's important to understand the community that you're trying to do the research in as much as I can. Obviously not as much as these two, but so that's my background's actually in psychiatry, and yeah, that's me.
Hello everyone, my name is Jack Pinder, PPI. The most important part of every project, obviously. So I'm a real islander. I'm from Clare Island, and yeah, I basically got involved in the project. I studied in, well, it was NUIG then, now University of Galway. I did applied social sciences, so not medicine or engineering, contrary to most people here. But I studied in that, and this project came up about digital health. It was on the island, which was a big tick, and I just had to get involved when I seen it from the get-go, and I thought this is going to be unreal. So I got very excited when I was picked to be the PPI, which is the public patient involvement. I'm the face in everyone's house kind of at the moment, and on the island, annoying them really. But yeah, so I actually worked in the bar for like 10 years at home, so everyone knows me very well, obviously. So they're used to telling me terrible things and giving me all the problems. That's what I'm used to. So I just thought I'd progress it more professionally into PPI. So thank you. I'll pass you on to Ian.
So I'm the project manager. I did my undergraduate in NUI Galway in physics. So it's an interesting to look at the psychology when maybe the psychologists should talk to the physics people. They might learn find a new frontier.
Nick, closer to you there.
Yeah. So I'm the project manager. I've been working for NUIG since 2016 from Clare Island, and when this project came up, it was a perfect opportunity to combine the things that I love. So I was part of that Clear Development Company community representative for a long time as well. So very used to advocating for the community. The patients are us. They're my father, my mother, my brother, my sister. So we are keen as a team to ensure that the patient and the public and the community are involved at every stage in this. And I suppose a lot of kudos has to go to Derek, who designed the project and left the space in there in every work package that we can tailor it with the community to create something that is useful, that is scientifically relevant, and that is sustainable. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. So my first question is for Jack. So as you said, PPI is really at the heart of this project. So could you tell us a bit about how you embedded PPI from the very start? So what were the first steps you took?
Yeah. So this goes back to even before I joined the project, before the team. Sorry. So I'm just an average islander, as everyone else. All the patients, as Ian said, I'm one of the patients. We all are on the island, and we heard this project was coming up, this home health digital project. Nobody knew what it was, nobody knew what it was about, and being a typical Irish island person, I had to go down for a nose to see what this was all going on. So we had Professor Keefe and a lot of academics there, and they talked to us about the project, they explained what was going to be happening, and it was good. And most young people were obviously very enthusiastic about the project. There was a lot of people on the island, some older people that were kind of critical, thinking about what does this project mean? Are we going to lose our doctor? Are we going to lose our 2 nurses? As someone had earlier, is there going to be a robot in our face? Like, there's a bit of worry, there's a bit of all this just go on in projects, and you have that, and that's probably the most important thing, is to communicate this. So then the next time when the information evening was being held on the island and everyone was coming to, everyone would just come to the information meeting, what we did was we took a roundtable approach. And at my time in University of Galway, I did a facilitation course with Lift Ireland. But so I was one of the facilitators at each one of the tables. And so everyone that was on the island that had concerns, and not everyone wants to stand up and be the negative Nelly and say, I don't like the sound of this, I don't want that. So what we were doing was each facilitator would write down the concerns and the positives as well. Everyone was very enthusiastic, but the concerns that they wanted answered. And at the end of that day, we had all of our queries and questions and things that people were frightened of and scared of that might happen. We had all that in the project, and then all the academics and Professor Keefe, they answered all of this, and it was really, it was a massive step for everyone on the island. It was the first time we had tried this approach, this roundtable approach, and it was so positive. And almost at the end of that day, almost everyone in the room signed up straight away, was like, get me on this project, it sounds amazing. We're going to get our nurses, we're going to get our doctors, we've got all this, and we're just going to improve the system that's already there. See, can we do this digitally? So then, with that, I came onto the project then after that. I applied for the job and I got it as PPI. So, funny thing, you might laugh at this, but there's 2 forms for media on the island or getting the word out there. There's our local newsletter, which is like our tiny Irish Times, that goes out once a week, that has all the information in it, and we also have a WhatsApp group chat with everyone on the island in it. So those are my 2 kind of go-tos that I use to get the word out there. And I suppose the most important thing for PPI and for the project in general is, I suppose, communication and transparency. So it's not the usual top-down kind of development where someone comes in, they said, we're doing this, 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 we're testing it on ye, lab rats, and we're going to take that information and go, this project, we really came in and it was, this is what we're thinking of, how do you feel about this, how can we get you involved? And so my kind of job is, as I tell people, the liaison between the doctors and the science people to everyday other people like myself. So I'm here with the team, we have our meetings, we discuss what we're doing next, and then I take that and I'll put it either into the WhatsApp, I'll put it into the newsletter, or I go house to house as well, because I know everyone, and I can go into everyone's house and I can knock on the door and rock in, and just explain to people. And I think it's very important for the project, I suppose, that I'm from the island. It's a very big advantage because I could get in there, and people aren't afraid. They're not thinking this is a stranger in the lab coat who's going to, take all of my information. So basically, yeah, I just open communication and things like that is how I think the project has been running so far in PPI, and people on the island are very happy and they're very positive about how this project is going to go. So that was my PPI point.
Great, thanks, Jack. I think we all learned some PPI lessons there. I might be going door to door.
Yeah, maybe not that for everyone now.
I have a question for you, Jenny, now as the project physician. I guess I have a bit of experience in working in PPI, but it's always been with people who are living with a particular condition. So the whole PPI group would be people living with diabetes or high blood pressure or something like that. This is a very different context in that it's a tiny community. People are living with all sorts of different conditions, but also they all know each other. So did that throw up any challenges?
Jack's being very modest, by the way. This was a natural choice as PPI. I've known Jack since he was an Irish dancing teenager, and he's always been the man on the island that speaks to young and old, and it was a really good choice for the role. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of build on like what Jack was saying, I guess when you've got a group of people together, the anonymity and the privacy is a big issue. It's if you've got a cohort of patients that all have diabetes, they won't necessarily know each other. But here, people's health information is obviously hugely private to them, and everybody there. I hope this isn't offensive, but not a lot goes on the island, so everything is observed. So there's the issue of trying to keep people's information private. Some people don't care that it's known that they're participating in the project. Other people don't want it to be known. Or, you know, for example, with virtual consultations, you know, how do we, like one of the pros of Jack being an islander is obviously everything he's just said, but also, you know, how do we ensure that if he's helping, you know, an older person down to a virtual consultation, that he doesn't know what the consultation is for, you know, so trying to ensure that people's privacy is very much observed. Also, I guess, you know, everybody's talking about it in the pub or down in the community centre. So things like, you know, I guess all of the people in the project are communicating about the project all the time bilaterally. So even things like, you know, 5G is a big part of the project, and there'd be some people who would be suspicious of that and might be saying, you know, be kind of, you know, airing their concerns to others, and then that spreads, so that's another thing. And I guess also just from a scientific point of view, like, well, our numbers are small. We have 160 people, and they all don't have like across from kind of 90 to, you know, 1. You're not going to find a condition that everybody has. So we are trying to, in terms of making it statistically relevant, we've done a kind of morbidity map, and we've picked out the most common condition, and so we will be monitoring that, but where our results are going to not just take into account, you know, whatever, a fall in blood glucose or a fall in blood pressure. It's also about, you know, patient reported outcomes, quality of life. Do they feel more empowered in terms of their health? Do they feel more motivated to take, you know, positive actions and things like that. So it's a bit more nuanced when it's a smaller community with multiple conditions all living so close to each other. So I guess those are just some of the challenges.
Yeah, it's really interesting, a super interesting context. And I wonder, Ian, maybe could you talk a bit more about the differences in doing PPI in that community setting versus the patient setting that maybe some of us would be more used to?
So trying to engage a community is obviously quite different from the patient from many different respects. First off, the most immediate thing that happened is that there's a kind of a community of enthusiastic people surrounding it who've already volunteered their time or their expertise into the project. So from an academic point of view, from engaging certain experts, they came to us because they are part of the community or part of the peripheral community. So that was a nice little unexpected outcome at the very beginning. Now, it should be noted that we're only 2 months really into this project, so we're at the very early stages, and we hope to be staging our main interventions from January onwards. But we have a number of work packages. The first 2 are about remote monitoring and virtual consultations, and the third one is about health promotion, and that is the part where we're seeing the most enthusiasm from the broader community, where we're trying to bring solutions to people, digital solutions that will help them be healthier, help them eat better, help them be fitter, and when we're trying to combine the kind of the patient and the community, this is the kind of the tool that everyone seems to weigh in. Everyone wants to be better, everyone wants to be fitter, and we're using that as kind of a foot in the door, so to speak, where we get into the household that way. We're telling everybody about the project. Jack is there in their front door, foot in the door, telling them about the other benefits then from all the other activities. So we're kind of staging it in different approaches. Now we've done a few pilots where we've engaged a small number of people. So we're going through the processes that are needed to bring patients in, get them hooked up with all the equipment that they need, test the IT backbone that's in the place, and we've conducted a number of virtual consultations already, and we have a few patients who are undergoing remote monitoring right now. So these kind of initial case studies are very important then for spreading these initial successes are very important for spreading the word about the larger. And you know, it's a very small community, so word spreads very rapidly. So we're taking kind of a piecemeal approach and letting kind of the natural positivity from our successes spread out to everybody else.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. I think we have time to maybe take one or two questions from the audience, if anyone has a question. Yeah, yourself there.
Costello is my name, formerly healthcare, but this project reminds me of the old Shannockle, Moranadini Vescoa Hela, and Prof. O'Keefe has now applied the new science of mHealth or eHealth to this community, and good luck to you with the project.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. It's brilliant. Roger Sweet from Western Development Commission, and I've seen some of this project emerge from where it starts, so well done to Professor O'Keefe and all of you for bringing it so far. Just a question, while Clare Island is a small community, the west of Ireland is full of small communities, and do you feel that you're building a platform that can be scaled to other communities from this and that will create a really sustainable legacy for the region?
Yeah. So, thanks, Roger. So, like I said, we're only 2 months in, but we are definitely looking at how we can roll out what we learn here to maybe other islands. First off, other rural areas, hinterlands of townlands. We're looking at interregs as perhaps mechanisms to do that, to sustain both the activity that's happening right now past our project end date and also to spread the learning. So it's very much a case, and I think the HSE and Jim would back this up, that what we're doing here is we're finding the process that will be implemented in other places. And I think Jim said this morning that this is the future of healthcare, not just on a little island off the coast of Mayo, but globally. So we're finding the path. Some of it is very obvious, some of it's not so obvious. And we definitely intend to reproduce this as often and everywhere that we can.
Great. Do either of you want to?
I think you answered it
Yeah,
very
okay.
well.
Is there any other? Kathleen, you had a question?
Hi everyone, really great work, and it's great to see such enthusiasm. I'm just wondering, do you think that, Jack, you in particular, do you think that every project would need a Jack to make it work?
Yes.
How are you, Kathleen? Of course, every project does need a Jack. Obviously, but there's only so much of me that can go around. But no, I definitely think every project does need, because when I did social science, so when I seen the job first, I thought, I'm not doing medicine, I'm not doing engineering, how will I fit into this? But one of the things I was doing in social science was kind of rural development, and that kind of breaking the top-down approach and trying to put transparency into development. And this is just development in the medical healthcare system. And I thought it's exactly what you need. And you've touched on it earlier on, some of you in great ways, that you do need that kind of transparency. And as you said, you're dealing with the patient. What does the patient want? What does the patient need? And the patient mightn't be able to tell that to the doctor. They mightn't be able to tell that to the surgeon. So having the middleman or the middle woman, the middle person there to just communicate that. And I think open communication just brings on projects a lot quicker, even though we're kind of trying to slow them down, but it does, because if someone can just bounce back and say, this isn't actually working the way we're doing it, but someone mentioned that if we did this instead, it would go a lot smoother, then you can change something. Everything happens a lot easier and a lot quicker. But yeah, so I do think open communication, a PPI obviously for every project is needed. But yeah, I think definitely communication and openness for all projects.
Great, thanks so much, Jack. This has just been such a fantastic example of why PPI is so important in every project. Thanks so much to the guys from the home health team. I think you'll all agree that was worth cutting 10 minutes off the coffee break. So yeah, we'll finish up there.